up and ready to go. Alright, so hello everyone, and welcome back to Factorio. Let's click resume and get right back into it. So last time we left off, I believe we were having some difficulties on Gleba, where we kept getting attacked by pentapods because we expanded our spore cloud a bunch all at once. So we're going to need to address that. And in order to do that, I believe we had set up this guy to have railgun turrets in addition to the lasers and rocket turrets. So hopefully that's fine. And we also do have these artillery turrets, which are set up, and we are going to be doing artillery shell range increases a couple of times, so hopefully that'll be enough. But I want to just go scouting mostly. Alright, no, never mind. We are being attacked again. Okay, it worked out fine, it looks like. Although I think we want more, like, just backup power poles, basically, so that if something gets destroyed, there are more connections to keep it powered at all times. So that can all go back in, and if this one is getting hit, just like the previous one was, then let's copy-paste this down here so that we can get the artillery turret, or the railgun turrets in. And hopefully that will help. Hopefully that will help deal with the issues. I wanted to just scout out and figure out, like, where exactly the spore cloud is going out to, so that I can just cover for that. But step one is going to be getting these turrets in, obviously, and hopefully get them all loaded up and armed before another attack wave comes. So we just need, like, a couple shells before the attack comes. And let's see, if we just put... I actually don't know. I think radars have better scanning abilities than, like, the random artillery turrets and stuff. So let's just get some of those guys in around the edges. And that also includes up here, although I think this hasn't been as much of a problem. So we can get those radars placed in, and that should hopefully help get vision on sort of this nearby area. It's funny that the radars have names. I don't know why they do that. Okay, so now Novice is also being attacked for some reason. And this is happening down here, of all places. That's pretty far into the pollution cloud for some reason. And we can definitely use higher security in here. So just add a couple extra laser turrets along that area, and that should be fine. And for some reason, my science production has completely stopped, which is annoying. So why is that? So these guys are missing metallurgic science. So what is going wrong with metallurgic science? Because that shouldn't be an issue. So this is our only source, and it's not getting enough tungsten plates. Okay, so first of all, can you be... Actually, can we just mass quality productivity module U, and then speed beacon U. So that this was at like 1.32 per second before, and now once these speed modules show up, it's gonna be probably way faster. Yeah, so now it's more efficient in terms of its production and a lot faster. So now we just want to figure out the whole tungsten plate situation to see what's going wrong with that. Because we have this whole giant row of them, which goes over that way. But I guess that's not what's feeding it. The tungsten plates are just being fed from this. So these can also be module boosted a huge amount. So that can be all legendary modules and everything. So legendary speed modules instead of tier 2 speed modules is going to be a tremendous difference. Yeah, so now these guys are cooking. And they're going to take a lot of tungsten plates, but they're going to take a lot of tungsten to do it, but they're going to produce an absolute ton. And then the last thing we can do to upgrade this is if we make you legendary. So currently you're a 6.65, and now you're a 16 point something. And you have item ingredient shortage just because the inserters aren't fast enough now. So let's fix those, just get some faster inserters. So just bulks should be fine. Right, we shouldn't need stack inserters. Alright, so that should get that going a lot better. And we might also need to improve the tungsten carbide supply. So this is taking 20-ish tungsten carbide, which is coming along here from down these guys. Alright, so these guys definitely need to be improved. So currently they're 2.32 and some other things. So we have theoretically enough to do this. So we can just do all of that. And now this is a lot faster, but we're missing out on coal supply now. So the carbon is here, and you are you even, this one over here is speed moduled. So let's just continue getting these upgrades in everywhere they can possibly go. And that should dramatically increase the carbon supply. Although we're going to need a lot of it, but it should be okay. So currently this is 3.58. When those better modules show up, we'll see what it actually is. Now it's up to 11.9. And it's going to need a bulk inserter, because of course it is. These guys would probably also need bulk inserters if they could go fast enough. So yeah, now they're output full, so that has caught up. And you have managed to successfully use all of our molten copper. Okay, well, once again, you can continue just doing easy fixes. So, Foundry Legendary version goes to each of those. And they can get legendary quality modules. And those are both hit by this beacon, which we're going to legendary upgrade and legendary module upgrade. So that is going to be a lot faster. It's going to be dramatically faster. And the productivity in here is kind of whatever. So you are output full because of the stone, I would assume. Yeah, so you need stack inserters to get your stone out at a reasonable rate. So you two do that. And now you'll keep going. Okay, so you can lose that random speed module and get a legendary quality module in its place for efficiency's sake. And now molten copper is back to having enough, which means that science is going well. Okay, so yeah, this should now be fine. We have this whole box full of it, and let's let it stockpile up to even more, just so that we can have it. And how is Gleba doing? We haven't been attacked in a little bit, but we also don't really know where the spore cloud gets out to. It's so hard to tell. Okay, so the Spidertron is out to here, and this right here is the edge of the spore cloud. Now if we head over this way, there was sort of a vision of some stuff up here. There are a couple egg rafts out there. And we just sort of have to get the Spidertron running around the edge so that we can see what's going on here. It looks fine though, like we're just loading a whole bunch of new area, but it seems like this region is all clear spores. Okay. Somehow they've managed to get all the way into here again. So all that stuff is going to have to be rebuilt. How did they even get there? Like, they just keep walking straight past all of my defenses in extremely annoying ways. Alright, so the Spidertron, which was on scouting duty, you're clearly were being attacked from this side. So we need to just figure out where on that side exactly they're coming from. Good news is we have the ability to pretty quickly rebuild everything when it breaks like that. And all these guys are either working or waiting for plants to grow. None of these guys are stuck on outputs or anything. So that should be fine. And now we just need to figure out what's going on. The radar is still scanning. This is very, like, the undiscovered area over here is very close to what I have here, which is annoying. So I'm expecting them to be, like, some of these red dots to actually be real. Or maybe there'll be others sort of just past them. But we need to... It's so hard to see the edge of the spore cloud. So this whole area is still spore clouded. All the way out to here. It goes super far out, apparently. And that's the edge of it there. So now we just need to sort of stroll along this way and look for anything at all. And it seems completely... It's got to be up on this corner then, right? Because this whole area is clear. if they were coming from down here, they wouldn't have gotten up in there. They would have hit somewhere in this area. So we just keep on doing exploration with the Spidertron. And up you go. And so this is the boundary, right? Yes, so these guys out here don't change color when I toggle the spore cloud vision, which means that there's no spores out there. And I actually just straight up see nothing. Yeah, there isn't, unless these red dots are somehow real, which I highly doubt. Yeah, there's just straight up not any nest that they're attacking from. They're just, I guess they're just materializing from nowhere. Annoying. Okay, let's just check, like, maybe it's this one dark spot somehow, but I really doubt it. Yeah, so there's nothing there. Okay, I am seeing a little bit of flickering down here, and I don't know... Oh wait, no, I do see this, apparently. That looks red, and it looks new. Alright, so there's a guy here. And an egg raft as well. Alright, so egg raft down, guy down. Spidertron took a bit of damage and used, honestly, like 1 billion times too many rockets, but that's fine. Let's just finish off that last guy. So that whole area is gone. Spidertron can return. Okay, so they're not like... Are they like somehow coming out of these shells here? Can we dismantle you? And now there's going to be a pentapod egg somewhere. Okay. Yeah, so now... Where do these guys keep freaking coming from? They're just appearing out of nowhere. I've scanned this whole area personally. There's nothing here which could possibly be causing this. And there we go. They finally get dealt with. Spidertron shows up 10 seconds too late, of course. And nothing got destroyed that's irreplaceable. So we just have to wait a little bit for all that stuff to get rebuilt and then figure out what the heck is going on. Alright, so maybe they came from down here. Can we actually just, like, randomly fire shots out into that region to see what happens? I don't know what is taking the guns so long. Okay. I think the shots are coming from, like, over this way somehow. And we're not seeing anything immediately. But we also haven't made it to the edge of the area yet. Okay, so there is some stuff here. So we will queue you and you to get shot. And hopefully you as well. If we can get a shot off in the right area. The shots take forever to come out. But there they are. And this nest is just absolutely spawning these guys in insane numbers. But it's finally gone. And now they are messing with the Spidertron, which I'm just going to have that retreat probably. And just like keep an eye on these guys. Do you even have ammo? No, you have no ammo left. Alright, so Spidertron has to retreat. and rearm. And hopefully these guys will just sort of leave me alone for a bit. But we did get rid of the raft, which was causing some of those attacks at least. So that's progress. And our ability to turn stone into landfill is still very, very slow progress before we get all these walls built up. Alright. Spidertron got stuck on a puddle. Thank you for that. So just go around, obviously. And now you can return back. And just on the off chance that he's still there, let's throw a random shot or two out its way. Maybe we can even spot it coming in from the shell path. Okay, yeah, it is just standing there. So we are going to throw a couple shots at it and see what happens. It should just die from that, probably. Okay, it's actually quite durable. It is exceedingly durable. And now it's moving again. So we need to just keep shooting to keep track of where it's gone. And is that I think there's something in there for me to shoot at. So let's do that. See what happens. Okay, no, nothing in there to shoot at. Is that... Okay, so that has happened again. We really need to do the same thing here where we just get a bunch more power poles so that it's more durable, because currently this entire thing gets collapsed by like one singular power pole going down. So let's get a couple more in to fix that. And they're attacking up here again. And fortunately, the Spidertron is mostly rearmed at this point. Seems like it's all fine. Alright, so those are now cleared out, except for one little guy up here who needs to go away. Okay, so that is all covered. And we're fine. So we just need, like... Can we just copy-paste this? Pop it in, like, here. And build all that up. And then hopefully we can have that automatically deal with those attacks. And then hopefully these guys can be made resilient enough to deal with the other guys' attacks. It's really frustrating that, like, we have to just sit here constantly babysitting Gleba, otherwise it'll all get obliterated. And we still haven't even gotten walls yet. Because every single ounce of stone is going into landfill. Alright, so that's fine. So now we just need to... It's got to be the Pentapoda eggs spoiling that occasionally hatches the new ones, right? So you turn into one big premature thingamabob. Yes, I think that might be causing some of the problems, but I can't imagine it's like the entire thing, right? Okay, so this area is set up and somehow didn't get built entirely right, but should should be enough to at least cover some of this area with rockets. And then we just need to get, like, we need to just have, like, a bunch of these everywhere. But it's so expensive, and they're so powerful that, like, you need to have really strong defenses, otherwise you'll get wiped out. Okay, let's have the Spidertron run down again and see if we can scout out more of the egg rafts with that. Because that was like a reasonably effective way of doing it, right? And the radar coverage, is there some way of seeing how much radar coverage it has? I wish there were. We can use legendary quality radars to make it better, but I don't know if we even need to make it better is the problem. Like, it might be fine as is, or it might not. Alright, so Spidertron is running down here into the darkness looking for any pentapod nests. And I wonder if there's some, like, if we just put a radar, like, all the way down here, just a really long line of power poles, then that would probably help. Alright, so that's just another giant lake, which is going to be hard to get across, so let's turn around and go this way. And again, we're just looking for any pentapod nests in this entire giant region, which is really quite large now. But once we have this scouted, it should be much more manageable, hopefully. I'm still not seeing much of anything in this entire area. No egg rafts or anything. Just random empty generic Gleba territory so far. And hopefully it stays like that. So that's basically it on this entire side, right? So there's nothing more within the spore cloud out here for me to... But there is this guy up there who's definitely doing something. Let's fire a couple of shells up there and see what happens. And he is also annoyingly, like, right next to that giant mysterious area. Alright, so here come the shots. And the big guy there got popped, but there are even more big guys in here, which we just need to send 10 billion shots out there to deal with those guys. And there we go. We seem to have mostly missed. So let's do another massive wave of that in this area. And hopefully that'll do the trick. They are quite damaged, and they are staying put. Alright, so you survive by the skin of your teeth. We're going to hopefully change that. And then there's going to be these massive waves of little guys showing up at any minute now, which you are probably closer to deal with. Okay, so that is that guy dealt with. So now let's Now we want you to be there, and we want this Spidertron to go up there to explore. Okay, what is that? Why do I have vision on that? That's weird. I have no idea why I could possibly have vision on that random speck. Okay, now there are these egg rafts up here, right? Which I think I had noticed, but not dealt with at the moment. So let's get those blown up. And yeah, now we are getting attacked again. Okay, but this time it's down here, because of course it is. It's always the place that I've just moved a Spidertron away from. Alright, so you get back down there, and then the next attack is going to show up right there at any moment. Alright, no, stop it. Stop. Just, please just magically know which one I'm trying to select. And stop doing the wrong one. Okay, so can I just put a defensive line down here? I can, and who knows how much of it'll be successfully built, but at least we can try. And where is that? Okay, Spidertron is basically here. So these guys can get cleared out. And did I kill the big guy, or did it run away somewhere? I think I must have killed it somehow. Yeah, that's its body there. Okay. So now all this stuff is getting built up. And now we have at least some turrets down here to deal with that. So that won't be a problem again. And not that Spidertron. You stay put somewhere there. This Spidertron, we want you to just scout out the remains of this area. And we really just need to get rid of more egg rafts just out here. We might end up needing to do the same thing we did on Novice with, like, extended artillery outposts out in various strategic locations so that our range is better. I really, really wish there was, like, a good way of seeing the range. So your automatic range is like 500-ish. And your manual range is like 1,000-ish. So, if I go out to here... Oh, the manual range is shown in that purple color. And yeah, they can absolutely hit everything they need to manually. But then the automatic range should be like half of that. So, I don't know, halfway between there and there, it should be far enough. And hopefully these artillery shell range upgrades can also help fix that. Okay, so there's nothing really up here except for probably these guys, who I think still exist. Yeah, there's that giant egg raft to deal with. And ooh, that guy spawned in directly on top of my Spidertron. That's not fair. Alright, now he's gone. And I really wish I could have you focus. Okay, egg raft down. That's that guy dealt with. And Spidertron is looking real weak. You took a ton of damage from that, so you can just retreat. And we might end up losing the Spidertron. Make a run for it. And other Spidertron, where are you? Start moving up there to intercept. Okay, we're not taking that much more damage anymore. They are kind of getting annoyingly close to kind of expensive parts of the factory. My other Spidertron is almost here and should be more than enough to save the day. Yeah, you are right in with all of the super difficult and expensive moduled items. Okay, problem solved. And I think we need you to store at least 200 rockets each. So let's get that set up. But we just don't have that many rockets, so that's not even the problem necessarily. Okay, so that is that. And now we just have this 203 wall missing that I really want to fix. So let's temporarily turn off those and get this going. So we want you to go extra fast. So you can get a legendary beacon with legendary speed modules so that this can produce as much stone as possible. Once some stone shows up, you should be able to make a bunch of walls really fast, and then those will all get built up, and that will be that. So Gleba Stone, meanwhile, is still waiting at Vulcanus. And it is getting all that stuff launched up. Artillery shell production is going. It's not fast, but it is going. So that should give us a little bit more range. And these guys, they're waiting to launch rocket. Despite the fact that they're like 90% of the way there. And there's a bunch of stone 5 millimeters away from them. What is taking you so long? Okay. They are launching. So that's good. It's not completely broken. It's not completely broken, but I think we need to set up the stone launching to be its own separate thing if possible. Because I kind of want... I want these guys to be more available. So let's see here. We have production for those here, so that should be fine. So, rocket silo. Let's just build it somewhere nice and relatively open, like down here. And let's build like 4 of them. And then you will be all powered up. And you will get requester chests. 2, 3, and 4. With inserters. Your requester chests will be taking in blue circuits, low density structures, and rocket fuel. And that gets pasted across. Then we get a drone port here. And that gets connected up to power. Okay, so now we have a requester chest, and actually, let's go. Each of you is going to get like maximum loading speed. It doesn't need to be insane, but like 3 stack inserters ought to do. And then that is going to be taking in stone from some steel chests, which then are going to be taking from a belt, which goes across there. And then that belt is going to be inputting just as much stone as physically possible. Okay, let's actually just set that to like 5,000 so that we can get as much throughput as possible there, and then we can just go power pole, power pole, power pole, power pole. Alright, so this should take a whole giant load of stone and be available to launch it automatically without having to use the automatic requests system. And obviously it's going to take a while for that to get fully set up, but hopefully it should be fine. Let's get another guy here delivering more stone so that that can go fast enough. Oh, these all somehow managed to miss being connected to the power grid. Not sure how that happened, but fixed it. And you didn't get the settings copy-pasted. And then we just want all of you guys to have productivity modules. And then a beacon or two with speed modules. This doesn't have to be anything crazy, just enough so that it isn't completely painfully slow, you know? So now we have rockets filled with stone, and that should get Gleba stone moving a little bit faster and take the demand off of the generic launch pads for this. And then hopefully that will get us our walls and foundation. So I've managed to look away from Gleba temporarily, and the entire thing hasn't been destroyed. So that's a good sign. But I think, well, if we don't get more attacks in, then that will just be good. But we probably are going to be taking in more attacks. But yeah, let's hope that we can leave it as is for now. And then when we get attacked again, we'll have to do more expansion. So, this is all getting set up, and the stone is slowly trickling through. So we have, this guy is going to have plenty of stone. I think having 3 boxes was a bit excessive, but it's fine. It'll get dealt with eventually. And there we go. Are these overfilling, or are they able to get everything out fast enough? Let's give them stack outputs just so that this belt can get filled faster and hopefully more stuff can be requested at a time. Alright, so now that goes, and it's just running as fast as it can now. How much stone do we have in logistic storage? Like 5,000? Not actually all that much. And it is slowly decreasing as we do this. So that's not surprising. So up here, this is where we were trying to generate our stone for legendary stone purposes. We need to just get this set up, basically. So, let's see. We take the 5,000 molten copper, and we are going to need to pick one of these two. So this is more efficient on the copper production, but I don't think I care about that. So I think we're just going to pick this one. And so you lose your productivity modules, and you get speed modules instead. Then we just copy paste this whole section a couple times. So this will be 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4.4 thousand-ish. So then we just need one more. So we have that. And then all of this stuff gets built. And we somehow managed to still have all the resources to build these, which is quite cool. So this should, in theory, be our all the molten copper dealt with. And we just need to bring the pipe along, although getting 302 stone out of a single machine is not trivial, but we should be able to manage. So I'm going to start by bringing that pipe out just in case we need that space. And then this part is easy, right? So we just have this go and then connect into all these guys. And then we have an enormous amount of copper, which we're going to output at some point. And we'll just worry about all that recycling in a bit. So now we get to start looking at the solid outputs. So we also have this underground pipe, which is going to lead to the lava input somewhere, which we won't worry about just yet. Now, 302 stone coming out of this one machine. How do we do that? So we have our stack inserter, right? So you go in there. We can get 4 of them in on a row, and these are 32 per second each, approximately. And we then... So if these are 32 per second each, and we need 302 output, we would theoretically need 10-ish of these. Maybe 9 would be fine. Yeah, 9 would probably be fine, but it's going to be close. So we can fit 4 in on a side. We can fit 4 in on this side, if we obviously just move some of that stuff around a little bit. And then we've got all these. So can I'm gonna want to cut paste this whole thing just out of the way a little bit, just like move you up to there so that we have more space to do our designing. Alright, here come all the drones. And now all this stuff up here gets built. And it looks like the walls on Gleba finally got constructed. So that's handy. Alright, so now let's just like connect that power pole down to there so that we don't have to deal with the annoying flickering lights everywhere. So that is more or less all set up. Now, how does this go? So these are 8 times a little bit more than 32, maybe 40. All right, so if it's 8 times, if these are like 40-ish per second, because the rotation speed is more than 2 per second, then this might be enough already. And we can actually just make legendary stack inserters in theory. It's going to take a lot of carbon fiber, but we can just make legendary stack inserters if we really need to make this better. But for now, let's take that out and put the belts in. So you get a belt there, you get a belt there. Alright, so now the power poles go there and there. And that should make everything work again. So this is going to be 40, 80, 120, 160. So we are also going to need to make sure that we have all of these guys outputting on multiple sides in order to be full efficient. So one belt could take 240, but we want 302. So we're going to need to fix that. Now, we could just, like, accept it and say that we could just say 240 is fine, right? Like, that's what we've been doing for most of the other things, is just one fully saturated belt. So that would mean that this is slightly overproduced in a variety of ways, but that's good, because it means that we have some leeway on our production. Yeah, let's just do that. I don't need 300 stone necessarily. So these two belts come out, and then we'll just have them merge up. So now we have our belt of 240, and this is outputting to the top side, this is outputting to the bottom side, so they should just merge together without any issues. So now we have all the stone that we need. And now the only thing left is the recycler block, which should be... Actually, hang on. The recycler system here, stone brick recycling gives us stone bricks back, so we don't want to do that. Is there any recipe here which recycles back into stone? It's not that. There's no way I'm doing foundations. Maybe stone furnace will do it? Okay, so stone furnace technically recycles back into stone, but that's not really what I want, because that's a final output, so I can't even do productivity modules for that anyways. So yeah, I think we are just going to go the basic recycling route. So that should be, theoretically, if we just copy paste like this exact setup. The numbers might be different though. Yeah, the numbers might be different. So over on Fulgora, okay. Is Fulgora still completely jammed? Yes, Fulgora is still completely broken. Alright. I forgot that that was a thing. Let's try to figure out how we can fix that. The classic Factorio experience of just everything needs to be fixed instantly. So you are trying to go through here. Okay, do we need a block signal of some sort here? Because you can't enter this light blue area even though it's safe to go up that way. You can't enter the light blue area because he's in the light blue area. This would be a lot easier if I could just make this entire thing just be a bit taller so that you would fit within your region. Alright. Is no one building that chains the block signal? Alright, block signal built. That train is now moving. So you head around, and then you instantly get stuck again. Because of course you do. But maybe that'll be enough. Okay, no, it's definitely not. This is so frustrating. This is just the most frustrating possible thing. Alright, so we need to first of all just like manually get a couple of these guys through. And yeah, we literally need to just move this intersection so this curves up and then back down immediately so that all of these have extra room. Should hopefully work. And yeah, this is gross. This is so gross. So how do we fix this? So you drive remotely. And oh, we also need to set you to manual mode. Where were you going? You're going to this one. Alright, so manual mode. Drive remotely. You go forwards and then curve, and now you are into where you need to go. So we will set you back to automatic mode and stop driving remotely. Then we have to grab you. Manual mode, drive remotely. So we need you to back up and then take that route and go to automatic mode where you can now get through. Except you can't because of this guy. Alright. Maybe we can squeeze a signal just like in here. Alright, a signal goes in there. Spidertron gets close enough to build it. Because the last one took like a year. Alright, so now that signal is in. And you are going around. This guy also needs to back up and take the other path. And go to automatic mode. Alright, so now you're in. And things are temporarily moving. Okay, so now let's... I really just want this guy to move. So... Okay, so first of all, we are going to dismantle that. Second of all, we are going to have you pull forwards a little bit so that we can have access to all this stuff. And you're just going to stay there. Okay, now is the hard part. We need to basically dismantle this entire train section. And yeah, the trains are gonna complain that they're stuck. And that's just unfortunate for them. So we take that entire row out. And instead, you are going to curve up a bunch, like all the way up to there, and then run along up this way. Okay, now we just need to get all of these guys attached into that row instead. And this whole area, okay, no, some of this we're going to need the Spidertron for. So you run over this way to get that stuff all built up. And this stuff over here will just get built automatically. And now we have to get the rails curved in. So this is going to need to go out and start curving more appropriately back here. And if you, yeah, so if you just do something like that, that should be fine. And let's just take out all of these supports back here and all the rails attached to them, because they're responsible for them curving too early, which we do not want. Okay, so now, if we attach all of you up, it would be real nice if you would point the right way. And it's really not super convenient spacing. It's really not super convenient. Okay, so we need to take out, like, one more so you don't start... Because you're already starting to curve the wrong way back here, which we need to fix. Now this one, I don't think we can safely remove because there's a train on it, so you pull a little bit forwards. Okay, now let's see how well this works. Yeah, so now it's easy. So this all just goes forwards into that. And I don't know why this one isn't cooperating. Where is it supposed to connect up? It's supposed to connect up like over in this area. Oh, did I see it there? Yeah, there it is. There's like one exact angle where it works, and every other angle just fails catastrophically for no reason. Alright, that's close enough, I guess. And now, once all these guys are in, we will be able to have the second train waiting in the area. So that all goes like that. And now we just have to get the Spidertron to build in some of those guys who are in the dead zone. And now it is signaling time. So each of these guys gets a signal like right back here. As far back as it'll go. And we have had to skip over some because they haven't been finished yet. But it should be easy to spot which ones because their signals are going to be wrong. Okay, so I think that's all of them. Now let's just have the Spidertron run along and get those signals placed. Okay, so now we grab this, all of these, oh, except this last one hasn't been placed yet. So now all of these guys have this region up here, which is ready to go, and I don't know what you're waiting on exactly. Oh, this guy. Okay, so you can get set to automatic mode, and while you're waiting in there, we can have a second train queued up directly behind it without any problems. And that should just add up to Fulgora working properly again. And the scrap is all backpiled, but it's not even connected to the rest of this stuff, so that shouldn't be an issue. Now all these guys can do their thing, and I believe it was the solid fuel which was like the biggest problem previously. So let's get the solid fuel so that you can load up faster in case that's a major limiting factor. Just make that a little bit extra fast. And where is the solid fuel going? So we're going to want to upgrade that side as well. Okay, so the solid fuel is going down to here, and it's going pretty fast. Is this good enough? Probably not. Okay, so these can take stack inserters to speed them up, because they're not running at full speed because they're not getting enough ingredients. And even with just that, it might solve the problem. So we need this to be going out at full speed, if at all possible. We don't want these guys waiting the slightest bit. So now they're going. And we aren't at the point where we've managed to get the belt empty yet, which means that there's still more ability to do that. So let's take that random power pole out. And was that needed? That was not needed, apparently. Very cool. So now we can just copy, paste this whole area up. Pop it right next to itself. And that should more than suffice. So, yeah, now we have... I mean, even with just the existing setup, we're successfully dealing with all the solid fuel, it looks like. Now, if we run up here, this is still having issues. It's probably about to fill up. Okay, so there's really no reason for these to be bulk inserters, except that they might not need to be stack inserters, but they also might need to be stack inserters. It's tough to say. So let's get that all fixed up. And now this is jammed again, and that's the major limiting factor. There's weirdly, like, everything except for gear wheels is flowing. Okay, now we are seeing some gear wheels, but they should be the most numerous one. So I don't know what exactly was causing that, but it's definitely a large portion of it is the solid fuel supply causing issues. So this fills up super fast, and now it can even load up the boxes faster, so it fills up and goes, and then immediately gets caught in traffic temporarily, but it's actually going to be caught in traffic for a while, it seems. And then I suspect that this will be completely filled up before that's anywhere even close to making it to the destination. So here's the solid fuel output, and it is going perfectly well. So this is fully going. Okay, Gleba is being attacked again. And it seems to have been a big one. Yeah, they've managed to just push through all of our defenses. We do have better artillery shell range now. Seem to have just hit that. So we need our Spidertron to get down here real fast before this causes even more damage. It seems like we might be reaching the point where this isn't manageable anymore. How long can it possibly take for a Spidertron to move? Like 10 feet. This is ridiculous. Okay, so Spidertron is here, and the big biters are dealt with, and now we just need to run down to clear out the small biters, or not biters, Penopause. Okay, so that was tremendously annoying. We need this, like, entire area to get fixed up. It's every construction bot on deck right now. And then we also need to... Yeah, this whole area's power has been cut, which is terrible. So we want to do just that. Just get railguns down here. And hopefully that will be fine. They're doing the whole no logistics storage space or anything because the power has been cut, obviously. And that's just gonna take a little while to fix up, but it should happen pretty soon. Okay, Novice lost a power pole, but seems like just one. Okay, so all of these guys down here aren't connected to power yet because like this one power pole hasn't gotten built yet. Gleba is actually missing power poles. Okay, how on earth is that happening? We are doing a whole lot of rebuilding, but how are we missing power poles? They're like the easiest possible thing. Okay, we have hundreds of them. It's just that whatever area down here needs them isn't getting them. Okay, this random wiggler down here is causing way more problems than it should. Okay, so that is that. Hopefully... Okay, so power is coming back online now. And it's not saying we're missing anything. It's just saying there's a whole bunch of stuff that hasn't been upgraded yet. So let's get all this in, and hopefully the railgun turrets will be enough. If we have to like start bringing in legendary quality items down here, it's going to be a massive pain. Alright, we do have artillery shells going out though, and that hit beyond the cloud, so that at least out in that direction artillery shells have enough range. So that's a very, very good sign. And also a good sign is that the railgun turrets are in, although we don't seem to have any railgun ammo for them, which is a bad sign. So what's up with that? This is still producing, but it's just very far behind, I guess. Can we get you to go faster? Okay, so you... What is going on? What is going on in Novice? We just lost like 1 billion drones in one go. Okay, who knows? It's that stupid power pole out there which is like causing problems, I think, so let's remove that. Now, you are working around the clock, except when you have item ingredient shortages. So, let's see here. We need to make sure that you get enough copper wire and enough steel plates and enough explosives. Alright, so it seems like the explosives are the primary issue. So this is 1.25 theoretically, and this is 0.15. But we're also making a bunch of these, which take explosives. Okay, so that is annoying. What is going on Novice that like all these things are getting damaged? It's this area. Okay, so we did recently upgrade artillery shell range, so that's actually entirely expected. So it would be weird if we weren't getting attacked on Novice after upgrading our artillery shell range. We're gonna get attacks from that. So now we can also start making landfill again, now that we have a decent chunk of walls at least. They're not tremendously useful, but you never know. Okay, so these... They do now have some amount of railgun ammo. And is this real? I assume that that's fake, right? That's just at some point in the past all that stuff was there and it's gone now. Yes, we can actually see that. Alright. Let's just send another shot out there and one down there. And okay, that one is real. And it's a bunch of them. So So let's just spam a bunch of artillery shells down here to wipe those guys out before they cause serious issues. And it's really only the big guys which cause massive problems. So that is gone. And problem solved. A couple random extra shells might catch some of the other guys in the splash zone. And we're just going to keep putting little dots on everything we see. Okay, so yeah, most of those are things which we've dealt with already. We can even see the pentapod eggs left over from them. That one up there might be real. So let's shoot at it to see. I suspect it'll be fake, but you never know. There might still be walkers left over. Yeah, okay, so that's clear. And I just want to clear all these little red specks off the map. So anywhere where they exist, we're just going to send a shot down there to see if they are real. And the answer is basically always no. So that goes out. That, yeah. So most of these are just places where the pentapods were previously and now are no longer. But it's just nice to get the little red specks cleared off the map so that we know for sure what's going on. And with more artillery shell range increases, hopefully we should get back up to the point where these can stretch out past the spore cloud and wipe out everything that would be a threat. Okay, Novice says that a drone port is being damaged. Yeah, okay, well what are you... Why is there a drone port there? Let's put a couple random laser turrets out in this area. I wish that you wouldn't be attacking that drone port. I wish you were trying to be doing anything like a millimeter to the right. Okay, yeah, so if that spinner were literally like a millimeter to the right, it would be dealt with. But instead it's here. And now it is dealt with. Okay, so these were intended to be pushed forward to get artillery outposts. So I guess I will do that. So you can extend a little bit further than that. And let's see here. I just want this to just sort of keep going forwards a little bit more so it's not just directly in front of the previous one. And then I think I'd seen, yeah, we got one up here, which is probably not necessary because that's just ridiculously close to the edge of the cloud. Whereas these ones down here are apparently might be firing, or at least were firing up until very recently. So that should be fine. So now this whole thing has been built, we can just put in an artillery outpost. Where is that? In this box? Artillery outpost. Yeah, so we can pop one of you out here, just around that roboport. And that should keep that stuff all clear. Now, our science production is still not working properly. It's still metallurgic science. Is it just transportation of the metallurgic science? Because we have so much production of it. Yeah, it's got to just be transportation. So, let's see here. You have 1,000. You have 1,000. You have 1,000. So we've got 3 of these guys carrying 1,000 each. Let's crank that up to 2,000 each, probably. Just so that we get more science through. Alright, so back to Fulgora, where we were worrying about this solid fuel stuff. And the solid fuel is being destroyed reasonably well, but it could still be better, and we aren't actually fully getting rid of 100% of it before the next one shows up. So let's just add in a couple more of these guys. And actually what we need to do is we need to have this go up to there so that we use both sides. That should do the trick once all the belts come in. And that should help. Although we might need to then accommodate for the fact that this is... We might actually need to do the thing where we don't have the loop back, because the loop back causes problems. So that is now going at full speed again, for now at least. And we're picking up all the solid fuel off of there, taking in most of the solid fuel out of here. And occasionally the train shows up and dumps off some more. But we are, like, mostly full most of the time, which is pretty much a bad spot to be in. Like, this is genuinely taking a long time to unload, which is adding a bunch to the process. So we need this to go faster, which means... Okay, that's just on Novice again. It's just laser stuff being attacked. So let's add another giant row of these guys in. And then we will have you be fed like that. And then this has to do a whole loop around thing. And input priority left. And we're going to wait for all of this stuff to get built up before we swap that around so they can work relatively efficiently in the meantime. Alright, so it's all gotten connected up to power, which is convenient. Now we're missing speed modules in pretty large quantities on Fulgora. So, Fulgora to Vulcanus. You can just carry speed modules, I guess. Just, like, pick up 100 of them, maybe, from Vulcanus, which I'm pretty sure that's where they're made, right? Yes, and we have 200 of them stored, so that should be fine. And then Fulgora, I believe you should be automatically requesting speed modules, right? Yes, but only 50. Let's have you request more than that. And other than that, you're basically doing fine. And this should get that dealt with any second now. It's a very fast transport platform, so you shouldn't have issues with that. So now back to Fulgora to observe this. So that's all been built. You curve up that way, and... Oh, actually this might... Yeah, this might actually be necessary to connect everything up like that. It's entirely possible that this entire area, yeah, it's all, this entire half of the map apparently just takes its power through this small spot, and I didn't realize. Alright, regardless, problem solved, and now we just have to get that little bit fixed, because it didn't get built properly for whatever reason. But now we have this going, and these guys are, a lot of them are quite slow, but they seem to be doing fine. So now we are taking the full output of all these guys, and it's a bit awkward that these two are on the same side, because that's going to mean that it takes longer, because they're both outputting the left side of the belt, so we can't use the full belt to output when it's only them, but it should be fine. So even when this is running at full capacity, there don't seem to be serious issues. Like, we're able to pick up everything, and it doesn't look like any of them are reaching this last one, and already the gaps are starting to show. So yeah, that's looking good. That's looking like we are going to empty out this of solid fuel and be able to keep up with everything that it throws at us. So we've got that. Now that that's fixed, and this should be emptying out like any second now, basically. Hopefully, okay, no, the train shows up, and it brings 2K, which shouldn't be enough to fill up even one of these boxes, so this should instantly unload. And it's going. It takes so many trips with just 3 of these. I'm used to having, like, 12 of them or whatever. Just instantly unloading a train of scrap. But yeah, so even when this is full, it's basically doing fine. It might be marginally behind full speed, but it's very, very close, I think. And so now these last ones will empty out, and that's it for fresh input into this. So then the loop all happens, and this stuff all gets wiped out, and this side of things is working perfectly well. So now we need to check up on this side of things, where it looks like the solid fuel supply is draining over time, just with the one train. Because I know for a fact that this was completely saturated, and now we have an almost entirely empty box, a barely full box, and like a partially full box. So that is looking all good. And the rest of this stuff is going. It's so weird seeing the green belts that the gears are on just ever so slightly faster than the rest of the stuff. But that's all good. The gears are able to keep up, and it looks like the solid fuel will as well. And then the rest of this stuff is going, and it's all working properly. Even the ice cubes, although the ice cubes might actually, yeah, okay, so the ice cubes might actually be a problem, because that was a whole bunch of very full boxes, so step 1 is to just increase the ability to load up the train by making these guys stack inserters. So that'll get the train loaded a lot faster, which should help. But it won't instantly solve the problem on its own, probably. Looks like that delivery of speed modules showed up, so that's cool. So, does this entirely fill? And if so, by how much? Where is the ice cubes? Where is the ice cubes? I could just click on the train station to find it. Alright, so the ice cube stuff is down here, and it's not unloading super fast. It is not unloading super fast at all. But the train is almost back, and the belt is buffering now already. Okay, so we need more ice cube belt output. So first of all, let's just make these guys stack inserters as well, just because it's not important, but we don't have any meaningful shortage of them, so we might as well. So that loads you up with a whole bunch of ice, which will go relatively quickly because it only stacks to 50. And then it's off, and it's hardly made a dent. Alright, so now, at least the loading and unloading procedure is faster, but we do need to upgrade the actual recycling. Although maybe not. I mean, this looks good actually, right? We're actually using ice cubes for other things sometimes, so it's probably less urgent than it would be for others. But for now, let's just take the solid fuel setup and copy paste it over. So we grab all of this. Let's actually grab some of the train stuff in so we can anchor it correctly. So you just go in like this, and for some reason the tracks here are different. Alright, so that's annoying. We're going to have to fix the tracks, but it should be fine. So now the drones are coming down here to get all this stuff built, and also to get all this enormous amount of stuff dismantled. It's going to take ages. It's going to take ages, but what can you do? So now we need to have that connect up to that, and that will be the last little bit that we need to fix. And these poor drones are not having a good time down here. This is sort of extremely out of the way in terms of the drone trips that need to be taken to get here. So can I at least make these guys... Okay, we can at least make those legendary roboports to make the charging once they get here a little bit faster. And we're going to want to do that for this whole area, basically. And the more of this I do, the less of it I'll need to do. So that should be fine. You got some stuff charging. Okay, I've told it to place a couple more legendary roboports than it can handle. But that's fine. Are one of you guys delivering those automatically, or am I just going to have to send a fast transport there? I think I'm just going to have to send a fast transport there. So off you go. Wait, are you... Were you sitting for too long and now you don't have fuel? Yes, you were sitting for too long and now you don't have fuel. Okay. You have 7 in there, 13 in there, and a decent chunk on the belt. So hopefully that'll be enough, but yeah, we need to not have the fast transport thing just sit stationary for too long. Alright, so now let's look down here. Holy yard work. I cannot... Why? Why must you do this to me? I cannot hear anything. I'm literally talking and I cannot hear myself speak. Please, please, just do it at any other time of day. Why must you do it now? Okay, it's gotten marginally quieter, so now I can hear myself speak, but it's still very annoying. Okay. Okay, so that's fine. Alright, there we go. Now we can put another one of those in. And once fast transport gets here, we're going to immediately send it up to Aquilo to get the fusion fuel. And this is just taking, like, an insanely long time to dismantle all this stuff. Alright. Thank you for the compliments. I do not really do Discord at all, so I'm not going to be adding you there, but thanks for the compliments nonetheless. Okay, so this is now more or less constructed, and we're able to get rid of ice cubes again, and that should be a much faster process, probably fast enough that it's not going to be an issue. Yeah, so this is already super low, and the train tracks are back. That should be solved as well. And we're all good. Okay. So that's basically everything set up. Fast transport is here. You're going to drop off some legendary roboports and some legendary bots while you're at it. And then you are going to sprint up to Aquilo and hope to get there before your power grid fails and you explode horribly. Okay. So Glebe has been kind of fine for a little while at least. Fulgora is still probably being limited by ice cubes, but it's very close at this point. It's very, very close as to whether that's an issue or not. And where's the ice cube train? It's still unloading. Okay, so now it's coming back. And this is fully backlogged at this point. But not all the way to the splitter, so we've got that going for us at least. If it can show up soon, then maybe everything can continue running. I think we might need a second train for that, or yeah. So it has barely not caused things to shut down, but like that could happen at any moment because of just weirdly long traffic or whatever. So we are definitely gonna hope that that's not a reoccurring issue. So you haven't even gotten out of the station yet, and it's already up to this point. So now, obviously, the ice cube supply filters down to its regular level, where it hasn't been backlogged a bunch. But we have 1 full box, 2 full boxes. Yeah, we definitely... It feels like we need more. Do we make more? I thought we made more solid fuel than ice cubes. Yeah, we make significantly more solid fuel than ice cubes. Although at this point, it seems like it's... Yeah, at this point we have more scrap output than we can do anything with in across every row. Yeah, so that's annoying. Oh, it's actually stone now is sitting stationary, causing things to get backlogged. How How is that? I could have sworn I'd looked at stone like a couple of times, and it was fine. So that's going to continue backlogging, and yeah, at this point it's almost entirely jammed the system. Like, all of this stuff is not running at all. And that's going to continue pushing to the left. Alright, so stone is our obstacle now. So first of all, we need you to be faster at loading. And you go like this. And then we need to figure out what on earth has happened to the stone to make it like that. Oh, well, that's annoying. Somehow we've managed to disconnect this from the power grid, which, if we just do that, should fix it. Oh, it must have been, when we were expanding this out, we must have built over a power pole somewhere. Okay, so now that's all fine, and the stone is running again. So that shouldn't be an issue, because we don't get that much stone from the cyclers, right? So we get only slightly less than ice cubes, actually, so it might need an upgrade. Although, we also need to check the production speed. So this is 48 to 12, whereas the ice cubes, I know for a fact we're not that quick. So these ones down here, right? No, the ice cubes were that quick somehow. Alright, I don't understand how those were a problem then, but regardless. Alright, so the good news is that it was an easy fix. The bad news is that that's a super annoying thing to happen. Alright, and then the steel is also cooking. It's very slow. It's excruciatingly slow, actually. So, do we not produce that much steel? Okay, we produce a lot of steel. But there are a lot of machines here, so maybe it'll be good enough. And the stone is going. It's definitely not clearing everything out. So if I just like paste you in somewhat like this, that should deal with the stone, and we're going to need to rebuild the train tracks again. So this is going to need to connect up to there, but that should make sure that stone stays under control, which is good. And that is that. It's obviously going to be completely broken for a while until that gets fixed. But eventually it'll get fixed, and then we'll be good to go. Alright, looks like we've managed to disconnect power again, but that's just to this region. And we are waiting on... Actually, don't know how you've managed to not be connected to power. These guys up here are. And there's clearly power poles going down to here. So are they like exclusively be... I actually genuinely don't know what is preventing these guys from having a power line connection. Oh, it's this. That electrical pole is missing. And we're also missing bulk inserters. We have been spamming a lot of these around recently. Alright, so let's just get the rest of these guys built up. What is taking the drones so long? Can we just like get the Spidertron up here, I guess, to help do this? Like, they get 90% of the job done instantly, and then they take like a month and a half to get the rest of it for whatever reason. Alright, but yeah, so this is all working now. And it's at least going better. It looks like it should be just about good. And we're going to be draining all this stuff out. And yeah, so now all these rows are finishing off and we should be in the clear. So that is all set. For some reason, this bottom half had 1 billion more stone than the top half. And I say for some reason, I know exactly why. It's because of the way this was set up earlier. But even with that, it should be no problem. And so that just drains out, and it's starting to get empty. So now we have these two running and doing the whole thing. So this one will drain fast, while this one gets a little bit empty. And the stone reappears every so often. And we just need to somehow get this connected over to there, which, yes, is fortunately possible. So that just goes there. And train tracks all set up again. Although there might be signaling issues if there are any signals on here that I'm missing. Yeah, should be fine. Should be fine. Alright, so yeah, that should be okay. And then the stone in these boxes is going down. Alright, so that's another problem with Fulgora solved. None of the rest of these guys are backlogging anymore, right? We seem to have finally gotten this stuff under control. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I haven't even seen the gear wheels being a massive issue because of how enormously engineered they are. Although, if this traffic persists, then it might be a problem. Where are you going? Why can't you get there? Alright, this intersection here actually causes some serious problems with this whole setup. Because it just means that we have to wait for a very long stretch of road before anyone can leave that way. So yeah, we might actually have this fill up. Or at least get close to it. Okay, so that gear wheel is out. The next one is in and loading up super fast. And there we go. You're going to be loaded up any second now. And hopefully... Okay, for some weird reason, the top half of you was less strong than the bottom half. I don't know what's caused that. I definitely do not like it. So we want things to be nice and symmetrical, but they aren't. Okay, so the trains are doing a good job of staggering their appearances, but yeah, this top half being nearly empty while this bottom half is super full and loading quickly is kind of an issue. It is kind of an issue. But probably not the end of the world. It should... It might balance out over time. I mean, theoretically, these bottom ones will actually fill up more over time, but then eventually they'll be entirely filled, and then those will start doing things. So yeah, who knows? Who can say? Who can say? Okay, I just realized this intersection here is fake. Like, there isn't anything there. That's just how we used to get the scrap connected up, but we don't need it anymore. So we can just take that entire thing out. So we just remove all of that, and that should hopefully get us to make this intersection a little bit less terrible now that it's simpler. So let's get some of these random curving bits out, and all of that goes away. So now this is just a straight stretch of track, and you go out that way, and I really hope that this is close enough, but you get a signal there. And if this section of track here is far enough for it to work, then that will let trains leave through that area without having to wait here for like a million years. I don't know if it'll actually function that way, but it might. And if it does, it would be pretty cool. Alright, so back to Vulcanus, where this entire time, first of all, metallurgic science is still not getting sent out anywhere near fast enough. So I don't know what's up with that. It should be like twice as fast as it was. But instead it's sort of just not getting anywhere at all. So you are getting stuff launched, but you have no metallurgic science even on the way. Okay, I think the problem is that Vulcanus just straight up needs more regular launch. So let's just get another one of you. Just fully copy-paste that, but then get rid of all that stuff. And then these will be set to automatic request. And hopefully just adding that additional launch capacity will be enough to make this planet work better. So we're going to need to craft up another rocket silo, which will take a little while. And we're also going to need to get all of the rest of this stuff built up and running. So you are actively producing rockets. So yeah, this is all going now, and they are all set to automatic requests. So that should help. That should help launch a little bit faster, just get more things going at once. Now, Vulcanus Support 3 did eventually get a couple thousand of that. Vulcanus Support 2 did as well. And so did Vulcanus Support 1. Alright, so yeah, we are all good from that perspective. Now, we've added a bunch of rocket silos, and there's no real way of knowing, for now at least, how we're doing on this stuff. I guess we can check. We got 1,000 low density structures, 200 some processing units, and just about 0 spare rocket fuel. Alright, rocket fuel production. Is coal the limiting factor? It doesn't look like it. It looks like we have plenty. Yeah, we have 50,000 freaking coal. That's never the issue. So, the issue is what exactly? How do you even make rocket fuel? It's been so long. Solid fuel plus light oil. Okay, so we've got we've got all these guys over here running. And we've got plenty of light oil in this, probably. If we speed module these up, it will be a lot better. So let's get this set up to produce more light oil. So this goes... That can go underground, like all the way through that entire region. These guys up here, we can speed module... We can upgrade their speed modules to go faster. And we can also get you in there with some speed modules. These guys will go faster. And that should hopefully result in an abundance of light oil. Output full. Yeah, so your output is basically always full. Okay. So this pipe, this light oil pipe should be plenty now. And then there's this, which is doing weird stuff. But do we have enough solid fuel? How's the petroleum gas supply could stand to be higher, it seems. So let's get this stuff in. We can fit just a couple of these just sort of around. And boom, 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 boom. You need a power pole. The rest of you should be fine. Alright, so that is now more petroleum gas production, which should be good. And that should let us make more rocket fuel. Where is our rocket fuel set up anyways? I genuinely have no idea where it is. So it is up here. It's taking from the light oil pipe, and it's taking solid fuel from a box where we apparently have a good supply of solid fuel somewhere. I guess we can make you more efficient and faster. So you are now up to a higher number. Let's just actually make this super duper efficient and fast, just so that we don't have any issues ever. And then we can just send that down. And solid fuel production is still going. It looks like rocket fuel is coming out. And now we will just upgrade these guys. Those are legendary. Those are legendary. Those are legendary. And that ought to be good enough. Now, the rest of our rocket fuel production is seemingly coming from somewhere down here. I have no idea where. But like, we have constant... Right, I'm not crazy, right? The things delivering the rocket fuel are definitely coming from this way. But I have no idea where that is. So, where is that rocket fuel supply? It's not like along the belt, is it? Okay, it is just straight up along the belt. I don't know why it's like this. So just... Can you just stop? So we just have this box here, which is a passive provider chest. And now we have these guys. These two are going super fast. This one is going comedically slowly because it doesn't see any speed modules. Now, even with these guys going super fast, it's not that much. It's not that much at all. At least our solid fuel production is 11.9, which could also use to be a little bit better. So let's get you also productivity moduled. And are you... do you need stack inserters? I think you genuinely just need stack inserters for your outputs. So that and that ought to do it. We don't want your output limited by the speed of one fast inserter. So now we should have plenty of solid fuel to do these. And these should have plenty of speed. Now, there's no way. This area is just way too cramped for you to do anything useful. So you can just chill, I think. And while we're making solid fuel production more productive, we might as well make these guys productivity moduled. Just get that whole system more efficient, because we might as well. It'll make it marginally slower, but not to a meaningful extent. And it'll decrease the amount of input that we need. So you're producing light oil at 28 per second. So yeah, now this is actually theoretically going full speed. So is this light oil just the same light oil pipe as everything else? And the same light oil pipe as these guys? Yes. So we need even more light oil production, and these guys are constantly short on water. So step one to fix that is magical efficiency mode. Congratulations, you are now going to need less water for the same amount of work. So that'll help a little bit. And then our water comes from up here, which takes like 1,000 steam into 100 some water. Now that, the steam is coming from this up here, which takes sulfuric acid and calcite. The sulfuric acid just comes from these guys, which I imagine have been brought down to minimum speed long ago. So let's get the sulfuric acid pumps going extra fast. And is that all of them? No, there's that one up there. And are there any more spots here that I can fill? Yes, there is one more spot that I can fill over that way. So congratulations, you get a pump. Oh, apparently we don't even have an extra pump jack. Whoops. Alright, yeah, I don't care enough. It should be fine. So sulfuric acid should be going better now. And this is now running around the clock. So now we have enough steam that this is never going to be an issue. We might as well... Okay, apparently somehow steam isn't an intermediate project. Could have fooled me, but whatever. And neither is water. So instead of this being what it's currently doing, you have plenty of input. We just want you to be faster. So you're currently doing 144 water. With these upgrades, that will increase to 225 as long as the steam permits it, which it might not. In fact, it probably won't, because this is 2.5k and this only produces 2k. So you also need to go faster. And then hopefully that 225 water will be enough. We have 30, 60, yeah, massive chunk here in making this, which I really don't actually want to do. So let's get this more under control. So we need a decider combinator to decide not to produce more petroleum gas if we have less of it than we have light oil. Because currently we're just like objectively destroying petroleum gas by doing this, which is very, very much not what you want to be doing. So we have our new decider combinator, and what we need to do is also have a box over there for you, just in case. So you need to send to all of these guys. And then what do you need to read? You need to read how much petroleum gas there is, which we can just bring through on green mode, and how much light oil there is. So if petroleum gas is greater than light oil, then output a no entry signal, and then these guys will be enable, disable, no entry signal equals 0. Okay, so now we put all those in, and now we don't produce petroleum gas because we've got plenty of it. And then that should mean that we build up enough light oil to be able to run things nicely. And now we should just be stabilizing between the two. Now how does our rocket fuel setup end up working now? That's like all the way up here, and we've got plenty of rocket fuel. Okay, so rocket fuel supply fixed. That's good. And all of this launch stuff down here is even more stone somehow. Somehow even more stone. You hate to see it. Is the stone... We do have thousands of stone in logistics storage. We're launching it real fast. And it seems like it's working though. Like, these guys currently don't have anything to do because all the stone got cleared out super fast. Although what I should do is I should start making some of these guys in super high demand areas to be legendaries. And that is especially going to be true for this guys here by the stone. And gosh, there are just so many of them that need this. And then some of the ones by the landing pad. Alright, should be good. Now, fast transport, you are up here by Aquilo. You've got all that stuff. So now you need to head back down to Novice. You've got your fuel, so you're not going to get stranded anymore. So now you need to get back to Novice and pick up some of those legendary drone ports for that. Okay, so Vulcanus is back to being largely functional. Now, what was I doing? I was, at some point, I've been trying to work on this, and I've been making almost exactly zero progress. So, first of all, we need to set up a recycling system for for the stone. Now, in order to do that, first we need to figure out how fast it's even gonna be. So let's find somewhere which has stone, like here, and just pop a legendary recycler down next to it. Oh wait, actually we know exactly what it's going to be, right? So if we go to Fulgora, we go up here, these guys, regular recyclers, do 48 stone each. Although that's with speed modules. What about base? It was like 12, right? I think it was like 12 base. Alright. So let's, if we just take those out. Okay, no, base is 16. And then with quality modules, it'll probably drop down to 12. We don't have any regular quality modules on this entire planet. Alright, so yeah, it's 12.8. And now let's get those out of there immediately before anything actually shows up and gets completely ruined. So it's 12.8. And actually, I do want to check legendary recyclers because might as well. So legendary recycler with legendary quality modules is crafting speed of 1. Okay, that's like just impossible to judge what that's going to be without actual stone in there, which there currently isn't. And has this gotten stuck again? No, it hasn't, and the stone guy is on its way. So this should be fine because it's just a recycling setup, so it could cause some weirdness with the numbers, but it should be fine because it's temporary. We're not going to break everything because the wrong quality gets in. So, all told, at the end of the day, you are 32 to 8. So now let's just take those out and set you back up to the way you want to be. So it's 32 to 8 in terms of stone outputs in recyclers. So that means in order to take a full belt of 240, we need 32, 64, 128, and then double that. So this should be 256. And they need to be legendary quality. So let's get all of those in. And we're going to need to be bringing those here as well. But that's what fast transport will have to do once it does that. So you will be picking up legendary recyclers from Fulgora if we send you there. So this should be 256 input, right? And then we just are going to need stack inserters to handle all of that. And there we go. So that will be a first row. And then you just go out there. And halfway through, you loop up and then go down so that we use the full belt. And that is the start of that. Then, so this belt here will take 240 input and transform it into what, like, what's the number? Like 60 stone output up here, which could be of any possible quality. So those all get their modules. Then, with that done, we then just copy paste this up a bit. and you can just go into there. So now, our first row is done. We send all that stuff up into a second row. And this is going to be too big for the second row, but that's fine. Because this was 240, but these are going to need... These are going to need to be bulk inserters. Also, are we... We might be, like, right on the line of Demolisher territory here. So that's a good thing I noticed that actually. So we cannot afford to move even a single millimeter to the right, and I'm not sure. I think we're safe, but not entirely sure. So, does Vulcanus have railguns? Did I ever get those delivered here? Let's check. I just want to destroy this Demolisher so that we have the room. And with railguns, it should be trivial. Now, where the heck is our logic setup? Alright, so over here. I don't see any logic for railguns being delivered. So, does fast transport have railguns on it? It does not. Probably should have grabbed some. It's fine. We can get those requested in. So you are going to request in some railguns. And just like 5 of them ought to be good. We don't even need them for like permanent setups. We just need to be able to place them and then pick them up every so often. And then you can also request like 100 railgun shots, maybe. I can't imagine even like you don't need that many, right? But just in case, they can be used. So fast transport is here over Novice. So then we need you to go up to Fulgora to pick up... Oh, you actually have railguns already, although you don't have spare shots. But Fulgora to Vulcanus does, right? So you can drop some of your spare shots down. So that's cool. So then fast transport will go up to Fulgora, pick up the legendary recyclers, and then go back to Vulcanus to deliver all that stuff off. Alright, now back to designing this. So you need a couple of power poles and just something like that ought to do. So this turns 240 into 60. Oh, I guess we need power poles down here as well. So we turn 240 into 60. Then we turn 60 into whatever, and this should be fine to just loop back, right? So if we just put that in, and you come down... Actually, no, this might not be fine to loop back, actually, because this output here isn't going to be full stacked. So, instead, I just want one more line, which should be entirely manageable, just to prevent us from needing to loop things on top of each other. And that will all go in. We're going to need the power pole to connect down to an existing one. And then we just have you loop back in this way, and that goes in to there with input priority left. Okay, now all we need to do is have an output priority left with a legendary filter. So that goes out there. This will be the same thing. Legendary filter on output left. And those two belts run up here. Merge up. And then go into a box, which will carry our legendary stone. Okay, so that should be good. Fast transport is here at Fulgora. It's getting its recyclers. They are still on the way. And only some of them are, but it should be any second now. Should be any second now. In fact, yeah, we see these guys are getting built up. Can we have this buffer chest, right? Can we just like have a buffer chest here to store the legendary recyclers? And you just hold like 100 of them maybe? So that these guys up here don't have to take them as far. That should make it marginally faster. And how many did we even need? We needed 23 of them. And I think we have 40 on the way now. Alright, so now you can just immediately head off to Vulcanus. And you should be able to deliver everything you need. Did you ever successfully drop off the rockets? Probably not. Not rockets, railgun shots. Okay, so yeah, because the thing is, if I even like move one tick further to the right, it could become an issue. I don't want to mess with them without railguns just because they'll make this whole process so much easier. So let's get this whole thing set up. So we have a railgun. Wait, do we actually have railguns here? Oh, we might have manually delivered some. Yeah, apparently we manually delivered some. Cool. And then you get some railgun ammo delivered to a box. And that whole thing is going to need a roboport. And we bring the power over. And we do have railgun ammo here as well. So that should be fine. And this should be capable of doing a lot of damage to a little guy. So that's 26,000 physical damage per shot. Now, if we were to pull up the old Factoripedia and find... Okay, so if it's a big demolisher, we're screwed. If it's a small demolisher, it's 30,000, which would just be barely not one shot. Okay, so in that case, let's just get another one. Okay, we only had one railgun here. We had exactly one singular railgun, but fast transport is on its way with more, so that should be fine. So we're just gonna build this up and make sure that's physical damage, which should be fine, right? You do have a physical resistance of 50%, but you have everything resistance, so there's not much we can do about that, except poison, which isn't really a thing. And all of them have the same resistance values, so just different healing. So yeah, this should be fine, right? Shooting speed of like every 2 seconds. So with 2 of these, it's per second. Okay, and the guy is actually like right here. Hopefully he doesn't just like randomly stray in front of the railgun turret's radius and get got before the second turret shows up. That would be quite embarrassing. Although, I mean, maybe it would work. Maybe it would work. Okay, fast transport is here and is still actively just slowing down, but it looks like we did drop off the railguns, so yeah, so this is getting built up. Let's get the Spidertron up to this area. It's been a while since we've used the Spidertron on Vulcanus, I think. So the guy is like literally right there, which is concerning, but probably fine. So we just need... Does the Spidertron have repair packs on it? He's got repair packs. Does it have drones? It has drones. Alright, so yeah. So we are going to cut this. Drag power poles out that way. Paste it in. And Spidertron, get that stuff built up. And... Alright, hopefully he doesn't, like, come directly through here and blow up all of my super expensive buildings on his way to my railgun turret setup that I've built. That would be quite the problem. Also, somehow we've managed to not actually load up these railgun turrets. And also, this isn't even within his territory. His territory takes a pretty hard diagonal jump there, for whatever reason. Okay, so we need to go a little bit further forwards to antagonize him. And hopefully, yeah, again, if he comes down this path, that's going to really suck. But hopefully he doesn't. Also, you need to send those down. I thought I'd done that already. And those as well. Okay, so back to this. We will dismantle that and then paste it just like all the way over there. I want the Spidertron to be right there for this. Okay, now we need to quickly drag power lines back and place a Roboport. Okay, that one power line, please get built before the guy shows up. Okay, now I know for a fact he's up there, right? Because I literally just saw him go past. So this should be facing the right direction. And they're armed and ready to go. So now it's just a question of seeing where he is and what he's gonna do about it. So he's just sort of moving along, minding his business for now. I have to assume he'll notice soon. If not, this could take a while. Can I, like, get close to him and, like, shoot him with rockets or something? No, this Spidertron doesn't even have rockets. So he's just literally ignoring me. Thank you for that. Very cool. But I do want to keep an eye on him from a relatively safe distance. So if you just stand back there, hopefully that should give us the vision to see what he's doing. And now we just sort of wait for that to happen. In the meantime, is this all set up? We need another drone port up here, apparently. So that can go in there and get a power pole. Alright, so the guy has moved further north still, but he is starting to curve around. So that's just him hitting the edge of his territory. But he should be curving down to my railguns at any second now. In fact, this might be what he's doing. It's tough to say because I cannot see his entire territory. But this is now all set up. And if we get that down, the stone cycling portion of this is done. Then we just need to deal with the copper destroying portion of it, which we can do relatively easy by just chucking it into lava. We don't even need to have a massive annoying recycle loop. And see, I put railguns in your territory so that you would come and fight me. And instead you've just sort of gone to the other side of everything and just ignored me completely. Which is really rude. I would really rather this guy just do something so that I can get on with it, because this lava patch is technically within his territory as well. But if I expand to it, and then he's going to destroy that instead of messing with me, which would be troublesome. It's probably fine. Let's get the Spidertron down. And so the problem with the railgun turrets is that we need to have drone access to where we have our setup, because otherwise they won't get shots. So like, I can't just build the railgun turrets out here, because I would have to build a whole giant line of stuff leading up to them, and then it would take forever for them to actually load. So that's not really an option. Yeah, we are basically just stuck in waiting mode. There's, like, eventually he'll figure out what I've done, and he'll come down here and he'll get zapped. But until he does that, we can't really safely do much. Where is he gone? He's all the way up here. Alright, so he was millimeters away from me, and then has then decided to travel to the exact opposite side of, like, physically the furthest place he's legally allowed to go. How far up does it... Alright, his territory goes up 1 billion miles up to here. But this is the northern extent of it. Oh, and you are a small demolisher, right? Yes. Okay, so this is as far north as he's allowed to go. So he should be turning around any second now. And heading back down, and once he's doing that, there's nowhere for him to go except right by my railguns. Okay, so now I understand the entire shape of his territory, at least. Let's get the Spidertron back up. He should be starting to turn around by now, I would think. No, he's hilariously slow. Okay, I thought he'd be up here by now, but nope. He's just taking his time. Waiting on demolishers has got to be, like, the worst thing ever. Like, technically, I could try to be super aggressive and, like, attack him out here, but there's not even, like, an easy way of doing that necessarily. Just because of the whole needing to wait for drones to power everything. So I need to have a very, very long line of drone ports straight through his territory. Did he just leave his territory? Okay. He just straight up is not in his territory anymore. Although I guess he's traveling along the border, so it's fine. And hopefully... So he has turned around. which means that surely he's headed back to fight our railguns. Alright, there's just no way he's not doing that, right? So Spidertron can continue to watch him move. And he's just so painfully slow. Alright, so anyways, let's stare at these belts for a bit, I guess. So each of these is 173. Except for, well, yeah, this one on the end will be 173 once it's functional, at least. So if we combine up two of these, it doesn't work. So basically each one needs their own belt. So that means that you get a belt 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then your belt curves up to there. Your belt curves up to there. Oh, there's 5 of these, huh? Oh well. Your belt curves up into there, and then your belt curves up and into there. So that is what this is going to look like. And then these are going to have stack inserters of various types. Where's the guy? Have I lost track of him? Yeah, okay, he's moving fast. Probably coming down to fight me. Yep, there he is. And... okay, he definitely looks like he's on a direct course for my railguns. So Spidertron can keep him in eyesight, which shouldn't be tremendously difficult. And then hopefully this is just not an issue. Hopefully the 2 railgun setup is enough. Actually, I have more railguns. I might as well use them. If those last 2 can get built just in the nick of time before he shows up, that would be great. So they're built, and the shells are incoming, and now we've got a ton of damage output. This should annihilate him. Like, theoretically, just 1 or 2 should be enough. With 4, unless he comes in at a weird angle. But it does look like even the far right one is going to have some line of sight on him. And here he is. And yeah, just not even a contest. Alright, so that is Demolisher territory done. Now let's just move you up here just to get this sort of last scene spot out of the way. Alright, so now this territory is all clear, which means we can actually do stuff. So, first of all, this pipe here is the lava input pipe. So you come over to here to the lava. And how much lava do we need? We need 4,000. And an offshore pump is 1,200. So we just need 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So that will be our lava source. Then we can get a power pole there. We can dismantle our railgun setup because that's not needed anymore. Okay, now the lava input exists now. Oh, we need the calcite input, which is trivial, right? We just need... okay, it's actually, the hard part is just finding a line to put it in. If I just could that ever work? If we had underground belts, yes, but we don't, so blah. Okay, so I can probably move one of these beacons to, down here. So if you go down there instead of where you currently are, we take that out, then we can squeeze in a belt here, which will be providing the calcite. Actually, it doesn't even need to be a belt. It probably should be a belt, though, just for consistency's sake. It should be fine to feed this from a box, so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to have a good solid amount of stuff in that box, and then get it all powered up. And there we go. So that's calcite in. And our first batch of stone goes out. Okay, now I didn't put the output for the molten copper, and gosh, that was fast, how those pipes just filled up in an instant. Okay, so for the molten copper output, theoretically, each of these actually needs to be doing a two-sided thing. So let's see, we need like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you come out the middle, and then go in to there. And that should be good enough, right? Four outputs, 1, 2, 3, 4 should be fine. So now we can just copy paste this to each of these spots, and okay, we're gonna have to adjust this actually, because this far right one doesn't have enough space. Although it actually should be. Alright, let's see. You go out to there, that's number 1. You go out to there, that's number 1. You go out to there, that's number 2. Then you go out to there, and that's number 3. Wait, no, not that side of the belt. This side of the belt, obviously. So, okay, that's ugly. Let's just tear that all apart and fix it. So you go like that. Then this one has to go to here as number 4. And then this one needs to go 1 up as number 5, which unfortunately is where the lava pipe is. So we'll do a new lava pipe up here. And then this pipe goes away and is replaced by a belt. Okay. So that is theoretically all set up, although we need power poles for the other half of these guys. And then these are going to output into just the lava lake, I guess. Now we have foundations here to make this easier, right? So if we just go like... Each of these is probably going to need 4 stack inserters, right? So you need 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we do something like that, and then we just need this last one to be a little bit higher up, right? So now, wait, no, this is wrong. This is wrong because we also need space for the input belts. So we need to get rid of all that, and you need to be like that. So now we have the input belts in. We will copy this, paste it there, paste it there, paste it there, and paste it there. And then we need to dismantle some of the foundation that was previously built. Okay, now we just get a power pole for each of these guys, which we can just put... Oh wait, no, we can't just put there, because that would break everything. So they need a power pole before and after. It's annoying that these are 4s. This is where having legendary qualities would be easier. So that all goes in. And now these just run along and connect up to each of them. And then once we get those power poles connected up to an actual grid connection, which we can do just like that, this should be all running. And we'll see if we can get enough of the output this way. We will see if we can get enough output this way, otherwise we can just expand these up, obviously. So the first one is working. And it looks like it's keeping up, or at least close to it. They're making these massive clouds of smoke, which makes it impossible to actually see what's going on, which is not ideal. But it might be working. These are still output full, but it's close at least. Okay, yeah, so let's just get... It might... Is it... No, it's not going anywhere near fast enough. Alright, so we are going to need... Just... If we just stack these guys up to have another 4, then that should fix the problem and get rid of all of the copper output. And at some point, we might want to actually use this copper output for something, but probably not. I mean, it's just so easily accessible. I guess the calcite cost, I guess the 8 calcite a second isn't nothing, but like it's just so easy to just make more copper if we need it. Alright, so now we've got this, and right, this needs to be double bulk inserters instead of stack inserters. And then we're going to need to put power lines in accordingly, which should be something like that. Probably. Do you get that one? You get those. Yeah, so now this is fully set up until these last ones show up. Just a couple more bulk inserters. Now it's looking good. Now it's looking good. We already have 1 legendary stone. We love to see it. And just checking, after every single opportunity of recycling, we have an output for legendary stuff, right? Yeah, that is correct. So this should be all clear. And are these 32, 64, 128? Alright, so these are output full a portion of the time. But because of the way they work, I don't actually think that impacts their... No, well, it does impact their output because the machine itself isn't working. So these are doing ever so slightly less than they should, but that's fine because this is 256 and needs to be 240, so that's expected. Okay, so yeah, that's just expected. And now this is all going. The copper output is working just fine as well. And the molten copper is not being an obstacle. And legendary stone. Alright. So it took an enormous amount of distractions, but we finally have our legendary stone production. Now we need 50 legendary stone for 1 legendary landfill. And then thankfully 1 legendary landfill to make legendary biochambers. And that should give us some very strong crafting speed on Gleba. Won't be much use elsewhere, but at least we have it. And then from there, it's not that long until we are done with building production. We can just ignore legendary stuff and just use the legendary buildings for extra speed and do our science. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up there for today. Thanks everyone for hanging out. It's been a lot of fun. So we have 5,000 calcite in storage, so that's never going to run out. And we've got this patch has 408,000, and we can obviously just grab infinite from space if it becomes a huge crisis. So yeah, everything is going pretty well. Thanks everyone for hanging out. So we are going to be doing Dyson Sphere program tomorrow, where we are immediately going to be starting up producing yellow science. We literally just have to go to a different planet, pick up some titanium ore and bring it back, and then we'll have yellow science all ready to go. So if you're interested in other factory building games which are similar but different in various interesting ways, make sure to check that out. Otherwise, I will be back here in Factorio on Friday as usual. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, so if you're interested in any of that, make sure to follow so you know when I'm live and what I'm doing. And that's about it. Thanks, Evan, for hanging out, and I will